The billionaire CEO nearly collapsed when her blind daughter suddenly pulled away from her security team and walked straight toward the one man everyone in the building had been trained to ignore. The child could not see his face, could not recognize his clothes, and had never been introduced to him, yet she somehow knew exactly where he was standing. She reached for his hand, smiled, and refused to let go. What nobody knew was that the quiet janitor standing beside her was hiding a Navy SEAL past that had taught him how to protect people without ever expecting recognition. If you believe kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances can change a life, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, leave a meaningful comment, and subscribe to our channel so you can remain part of our family and our community. Genevieve Ashford had spent 15 years building an empire from nothing. As the CEO of a global technology company, she was known for making impossible decisions and turning struggling businesses into billion-dollar successes. Newspapers described her as fearless, brilliant, and almost impossible to intimidate. But behind the private elevators, expensive cars, and glass offices was a mother who carried a pain money could never solve. Her 8-year-old daughter, Clara, had lost her sight after a rare childhood illness. Doctors had done everything possible, but Clara's vision never returned. She learned to navigate the world through sound, touch, memory, and an extraordinary ability to recognize people by the smallest details. Genevieve loved Clara fiercely, but her fear often made her overprotective. Security guards followed them everywhere. Therapists carefully planned Clara's routines. Assistants checked every room before she entered. Genevieve believed that if she controlled every possible danger, she could protect her daughter from the cruel parts of the world. What she did not understand was that Clara sometimes felt more trapped by protection than comforted by it. Across the city lived a quiet single father named Everett Mercer. He worked as a janitor at Genevieve's headquarters through an outside facilities company. He cleaned offices, repaired minor damage, checked corridors, and often arrived before most executives. Employees rarely noticed him. He preferred it that way. Everett was raising his 10-year-old son, Callum, alone after losing his wife several years earlier. His life was modest, but he was proud of the little family they had created. There was another part of Everett's life that nobody at the company knew. Before becoming a janitor, he had served as a Navy SEAL. His military career had taken him into dangerous places where survival depended on discipline, courage, and an ability to remain calm when everyone else panicked. After leaving the service, Everett struggled with memories he rarely discussed. He did not want applause, medals, or people treating him like a hero. He wanted to be a father. He wanted Callum to grow up knowing him as the man who packed school lunches and fixed broken bicycles, not as a soldier carrying the weight of missions he could never forget. Clara first met Everett on a bright Tuesday morning when Genevieve brought her to the office for a medical technology meeting. Clara became overwhelmed by the unfamiliar sounds in the lobby and stopped moving. Her security team immediately surrounded her, but their presence only made her more anxious. Then Everett approached slowly. He did not touch her. He simply placed his cleaning cart nearby and tapped a gentle rhythm against its handle. Clara tilted her head. The rhythm repeated. Clara smiled. Everett had noticed that she responded well to predictable sounds. He had no special training in working with blind children, but his experience had taught him to observe before acting. He gave her time instead of instructions. Eventually, Clara reached toward the sound and found his hand. Genevieve watched in disbelief. Clara had refused to hold the hands of several highly trained caregivers. Yet she trusted a janitor she had never met. From that day forward, something unusual began happening. Whenever Clara visited the headquarters, she searched for Everett. He never treated her as helpless. He allowed her to explore safe areas, described objects when she asked, and encouraged her to use her other senses rather than constantly warning her about danger. Callum eventually began joining them after school, and the two children formed an unlikely friendship. Callum would describe things Clara could not see, while Clara taught him how to identify objects through touch and sound. Genevieve began observing Everett more carefully. She noticed how he always checked the floor for obstacles before Clara entered a room. She noticed how he never grabbed her arm unless there was genuine danger. Most importantly, she noticed how Clara seemed more confident whenever he was nearby. But Genevieve's protective instincts eventually created conflict. Her head of security discovered Everett's military record and quietly informed her that the janitor was a former Navy SEAL. The discovery frightened her. She imagined every possible danger and immediately ordered security to prevent Everett from spending unsupervised time around Clara. When Everett learned what had happened, he did not argue. He simply stepped away. Clara noticed immediately. She became withdrawn. She stopped exploring the garden and refused to participate in activities she previously enjoyed. Genevieve tried to explain that she was only protecting her, but Clara became frustrated. She could not understand why the one person who made her feel independent had suddenly disappeared. One sunny afternoon, Clara finally reached a breaking point. She walked away from her mother's office with her white cane, determined to find the garden alone. Security followed at a distance, but Clara kept moving. She had memorized the corridor from previous visits. Then she heard something familiar. A soft metallic rhythm. Everett was repairing a maintenance panel nearby. Clara immediately recognized him. She walked toward the sound and reached for his hand. Everett froze. Genevieve arrived moments later and saw her daughter standing beside the man she had ordered removed from her life. For the first time, she realized that Clara had never chosen Everett because she thought he could protect her. She had chosen him because he trusted her to protect herself. That realization changed Genevieve. She apologized to Everett and admitted that fear had controlled her decisions for years. Everett accepted the apology, but he also gently reminded her that Clara deserved the chance to experience the world rather than simply be protected from it. Their relationship slowly improved. Everett began teaching Clara practical skills that encouraged independence. He showed her how to recognize spaces through sound, how to identify changes in flooring with her cane, and how to remain calm when something unexpected happened. Genevieve learned to stand back instead of immediately taking control. Then the unexpected happened. During a large daytime charity event at the company headquarters, hundreds of guests gathered in the courtyard. Clara was walking with Callum near a temporary stage when one of the support structures became unstable. A loud metallic crack caused the crowd to panic. Clara froze. Callum grabbed her hand, but people began rushing in every direction. Everett saw the danger. His old military instincts returned instantly. He moved through the crowd with incredible focus, directing people away from the unstable structure while creating a safe path for the children. He reached Clara, but instead of pulling her, he calmly guided her using the sound signals she already knew. Clara followed him without panic. Seconds later, the structure collapsed into the empty area Everett had cleared. Emergency workers arrived quickly. Nobody was seriously injured. Genevieve stood several feet away, tears filling her eyes. The man she had once considered a threat had just protected her daughter without treating her like someone incapable of protecting herself. Later that afternoon, Genevieve finally learned the truth about Everett's military past. He had not left the Navy because he was incapable of serving. He had left after losing close friends during a mission and realizing that he wanted to dedicate the rest of his life to something different. He wanted to raise Callum. He wanted to help people quietly. He wanted to live without constantly being reminded of everything he had survived. Genevieve understood him differently now. She had spent years believing strength meant controlling everything. Everett had learned that real strength sometimes meant knowing when to let go. Clara became the bridge between them. Over the following months, Genevieve changed her company policies, creating accessibility programs for blind employees and children. She established a foundation that provided mobility training, adaptive technology, and educational resources to families who could not afford them. Everett became involved as a volunteer mentor, helping children develop confidence and independence. Callum and Clara remained close friends. Clara also began exploring the world more independently. She traveled with her mother, attended community events, and learned to navigate unfamiliar environments without constant fear. Genevieve still worried, but she learned to transform worry into preparation instead of control. One afternoon, Genevieve found Clara sitting beneath a tree in the company garden with Everett and Callum. Clara was holding a small wooden object Everett had carved for her. It was shaped like a compass. Genevieve touched it and asked what it meant. Clara explained that Everett had told her a compass did not show you where the world was. It helped you choose which direction to take. Genevieve smiled through tears. For years, she had tried to be Clara's entire compass. Now she understood that her daughter needed freedom to discover her own direction. Before we reach the final moment of this story, we want to hear from you. Please leave a meaningful comment telling us what you believe Clara taught her mother, that love means protection, or that true love also means trusting someone enough to let them become independent. Your comment could inspire someone in our community who is struggling to release fear and embrace hope. Several months later, Genevieve stood in the same garden watching Clara walk confidently across the grass with her cane. Everett was nearby helping Callum repair a bicycle. The billionaire CEO who once controlled every detail of her daughter's life no longer followed 10 steps behind her. She simply watched. Clara reached the garden bench, turned toward her mother, and smiled. She did not need anyone to tell her where she was. She knew. Genevieve realized that the greatest gift she could give her daughter was not another security guard, another specialist, or another expensive treatment. It was trust. Everett had once served his country as a Navy SEAL, facing dangers most people could never imagine. Yet his greatest act of courage had not been a military mission. It had been choosing a quiet life, raising his son alone, and opening his heart to a child who experienced the world differently. Clara had never seen Everett's face. She had never cared about his uniform, his military record, or his job title. She knew him by the rhythm of his footsteps, the calmness of his presence, and the kindness in his hands. And perhaps that was the greatest lesson of all. Sometimes the people who truly see us are not the ones with perfect eyesight. They are the ones who understand our hearts. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey.